But anyway.
I'm not questioning Albanese's faith. His Christian faith is certainly a matter for him. But, I mean, when you swear the oath of allegiance, that's not on behalf of the Australian public. That's your promise to the highest authority that you know of that you are going to do a good job. So I still don't understand him saying, well, I represent people of all faiths and no faiths, therefore I don't swear on the Bible. But it's not about everybody else. It's about you and what you consider to be the highest authority that you can promise your fidelity to.
Yeah, and look, I hate to be sceptical about a person's religion. You never want to be sceptical. I'm not being sceptical. If the Prime Minister is a true Catholic, as he says he is, then that's totally fine. But the problem I have with this is that the Prime Minister himself actually made this almost into an election issue when he paused campaigning on the day that the Pope died. Now, firstly, look, I've got to be honest, I think it was a bizarre decision. I don't know why you need to pause campaigning on the day that the Pope died. But to me, it seemed like it was a deliberate attempt to win over Catholic voters. Now, why do I think that this was absolutely ridiculous? Well, because he cancels campaigning on that day, and then about an hour later, he held a press conference in which he was asked about his Catholic faith at that press conference. And he said, well, I have three faiths, actually. The Labor Party, the Catholic faith and the South Sydney Rabbitohs. And that in itself sounded like a sheer slogan to me. So again, I'm not questioning that he is a Catholic, but he didn't even go to a Good Friday service, you might remember. He did not go to church on Good Friday. So if you're that devout, why didn't you go to church?
No one likes the bad news days. Everyone just wants to go to the Sunday.
No, but it doesn't matter. But Peter Dutton went. Peter Dutton went to church on Good Friday. So if you are such a devout Catholic, why didn't you go? That's the question.
Yeah. Look, I don't think he. I don't think he is I don't think he's like a huge devout Catholic. But again, like of course you would pause.
But he's made
campaigning with the Pope.
Why?
Like imagine if Queen Elizabeth had died and you'd still keep.
I personally think it's different. I think. Look, again,
it worked for him electorally, but still, it
was an electoral. But I think it was an electoral ploy. It was deliberately to win over the Catholic vote. I personally do not think you needed to pause.
But wait, if that was his agenda, right?
During the middle of an election campaign because the Pope died.
If his agenda was to win over the Catholic vote, it would make sense then for when he's on your podcast, Joe, and you ask him about his Catholic faith, not to them play it up.
No, he didn't milk it. And again, just that, because some people, the whole thing of Albo saying it was raised with three faiths, the Australian Labor Party, the Catholic Church and the South Sydney Rabbitohs, that is the oldest cliche in the book. That is him talking about his childhood and how he was raised. And he was.
It's an election slogan, but this just proves
it is an election slogan.
It was all electoral.
That has been a slogan that has been around about him. It's like
but why say it on the day that the Pope died then?
It's like Superman fighting for truth, justice and the American way.
It doesn't. But why say it on the day the Pope died? If I'm going to cancel campaigning because I'm a Catholic and we need to respect this, why whip out slogans?
Because it's something that is just universally known about him and has been for his entire life.
Yeah, I'm very skeptical. I'm very, very skeptical.